This is Tales and Whispers, where every story is felt, not just heard.
All right, let's get right into it. You know, sometimes the biggest stories are hidden in the smallest of places. And deep in the heart of one of the busiest cities on Earth, there's a story so small you could walk right past it, but its lesson is absolutely massive. We're going to talk about London's smallest statue and the heartbreaking reason it even exists. So what's the big deal about a tiny statue? Why would someone go to the trouble of putting a little sculpture on a building that millions of people rush by, probably without ever even looking up? Well, that's the mystery we're going to solve today. Okay, so I want you to picture this. You're in London. It's chaos, right? There's noise, crowds, everyone's in a hurry, especially around Monument Station. And right there, hidden in all that hustle and bustle, is a tiny little secret. Seriously, you could pass this exact spot 1,000 times and never ever see it. And if you do manage to spot it, what you'll see is, well, it's a tiny sculpture of two little mice, and they are just clinging to this piece of cheese for dear life. It's like it's the absolute last piece of food on the planet, and it is all theirs. Now, you might just think, oh, that's kind of cute. But here's the twist. This is not just some whimsical little carving. Nope, it's actually a memorial, and it's there to mark a really, really painful story, a tragedy that all started with one simple mistake. To really get it, we've got to rewind. Way back. We're talking 1862. The story starts on a construction site not too far from where the statue is now. And it all revolves around two workers, just a couple of guys, probably good friends, trying to make it through another tough day. And you have to imagine what their day was like. This was hard, back-breaking work. And they're way up high on this rickety, dangerous scaffolding. The wind is just whipping around them. It's brutal. And then, finally, the best part of the day arrives. Lunchtime. So one of the guys reaches for his lunch, probably the one thing he's been looking forward to all morning, just a simple cheese sandwich. But he feels around in his bag and nothing. His hand comes out empty. It's just gone. You can picture him, right? Just looking around, totally confused. He turns to his buddy, the only other person up there on that narrow little plank with him, and he asks the question. Maybe it started quietly, almost as a joke. Hey, did you take my sandwich? And right there, in that one little question, the entire course of their lives is about to change. His friend is like completely stunned. What? No, of course I didn't touch your sandwich. But you have to put yourself in their shoes for a second. They're exhausted, they're stressed, they're perched high above the city. When you're that physically and mentally drained, your brain can jump to the absolute worst conclusion and just latch on. And just like that, in a single moment, everything shatters. The trust they had? Gone. Replaced by accusation. That special bond you get from working a dangerous job together? It just evaporated. Poof. In a heartbeat, they went from being friends to enemies. All over a sandwich.
So of course, the argument gets heated. And it gets heated fast. Voices are raised. And we all know how this goes. When you say something in anger, you can't unsay it. Those words are out there and the damage is already done.
And then it turns physical. A push. Maybe it wasn't even meant to be a big deal, just a get away from me kind of shove. But when you're on a narrow, unstable board, hundreds of feet in the air, that is a recipe for disaster. Someone stumbles. The whole plank beneath them starts to tremble. There's a quick scream, but it's gone almost instantly, just swallowed up by the noise of the city below. And then, from up on that scaffolding, nothing. Just silence. The two men? They're gone. Two lives lost. 2 men fell to their deaths, all because of a fight that started over a missing sandwich. But wait a minute, that still leaves the big question unanswered, right? If his friend was telling the truth, then where in the world did the sandwich go? Well, the story isn't quite over. Hours later, after this horrible tragedy, the other workers are doing the sad job of gathering up their friends' belongings. And that's when one of them spots something, tucked away in a dark corner of the construction site. And there it is. The truth, hiding in the shadows. It's what's left of the cheese sandwich. And it's been gnawed on. You can see these little, tiny teeth marks all over it. And in that moment, this horrible, gut-wrenching realization just washes over everyone. Nobody was a thief, nobody was a liar. The entire fatal fight was all a massive, awful misunderstanding. The real culprits were a couple of hungry mice. And that is why that tiny statue is there today. It's known as the Monument Mice. It was put there as a permanent, tiny memorial, but also as a warning. A tiny reminder of a huge lesson. That unchecked anger and jumping to conclusions can destroy lives over something as small as a crumb.
So what's the lesson for us here? It's really like a mental checklist. The next time you're about to accuse someone of something, just pause for 1 second and ask yourself, am I 100% sure about this, or am I just angry, or tired, or stressed? Taking that one extra second to think, it can change everything.
Because this story really hammers home a difficult truth. Some things, once they're broken, like trust or even a life, they just can't be fixed. And that's true even when you find out later that the reason it all fell apart was something completely and totally trivial. Which leads us with one last thing to think about. I mean, okay, the story of these two workers is definitely an extreme example, but the lesson behind it, it's not extreme at all. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? How many friendships, partnerships, and family relationships have been damaged or even destroyed, all because someone made a simple assumption?